Naruto chapter 646, Shinju. Yeah, the chapters came out early today, but you know, I think this is a good thing because I have like plans tomorrow, and if they came out tomorrow, then it kind of would have screwed up my schedule. The chapter begins where we see the Juubi's eyes close, and this bulb starts to protrude out of its stomach. Obito then takes down the barrier, and then all of a sudden these branches like spew out of the barrier, and it basically is spread out all across the battlefield, even to where the allied shinobi forces are. So the branches of the Juubi basically grab a hold of some of the shinobi, and they get their chakra sucked up until they're completely dry and dead. And a couple branches actually chase after Killer Bee. According to Gyuki, apparently this thing is called the Shinju, and it is the final form of the Juubi. Yes, the final form of the Juubi is a giant tree. So then we cut back to Hashirama and Madara. And Madara told Hashirama about the Shinju, that chakra was something that originally came from it, or belonged to it. The Shinju is just basically taking back the chakra that belonged to it. So then while these guys were getting chased by the branches, and you know, one of the branches actually did take some of Madara's chakra, they still had enough time to lay us a backstory of the Rikudo Sennin, the Juubi, and the origins of chakra. Granted, it's kind of weird they're getting into this explanation like while they're being chased by the Shinju, but hey, you know what? I actually like this backstory. So according to Madara, that many years ago, man has already existed, and even though they've never learned about the concept of chakra, they were still waging war against one another. There was this mighty tree called the Shinju, or Tree of God, that was not affected by this whatsoever, and it has been worshipped as a host of God. One day there was a fruit that bore from the Tree of God, and even though they had no idea what this fruit can do, they were told never to touch it. However, because of so many wars and conflicts and all the deaths that happened in the world, there was a princess who decided that it'd be best if someone attained a godlike power and stopped all of the conflicts. So this princess was named Otsutsuki Kaguya. So basically, this princess wanted to stop all the conflicts in the world, and she thought the best way to do this was to obtain a godlike power from this fruit. So she ate the fruit, obtained the power of God, and stopped all these conflicts and achieved peace. She gave birth to a son, the very first person who wielded a chakra, although we don't even know like who this child's father is. That person's name is Otsutsuki Bagoromo. I know there's some bits of Japanese mythology right there, but I can't help but think that this is kind of like the book of Genesis from the Bible. You know, Adam and Eve. Here in this case, there's no snake. It's just basically wars and conflicts that made Kaguya, the princess, eat this fruit. And she actually did this to obtain peace. She actually had good intentions of doing this. And it did work out, but, however, the Shinju was hell-bent on getting its chakra back, and thus it took the form of the Juubi. So basically, yeah, the Juubi is the Shinju. However, there was a person that tamed it, Bagoromo Otsutsuki, I'm probably saying the last name wrong, the son of Princess Kaguya, the father of all shinobi, and the man that basically taught all of mankind's chakra. It was none other than the Rikudo Sennin. Yes, finally getting a backstory of the Rikudo Sennin and how he came to be, and honestly, I like this. I like this backstory. And of course, the origin of the Juubi, it also made sense, and probably explained why its attacks are plant-like. So, you know, after that backstory, Hashirama asked how Madara knew about this, and apparently it was written on the stone tablet on the Uchiha shrine. Which begs the question, like, how much is written on that tablet? Not only did it have, like, the origins of chakra and the Rikudo Sennin and the Juubi, but also it mentioned about how to obtain the Rinnegan after you obtain the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Also begs the question, like, why is it only the Uchihas get this information and not the Senju? I mean, aren't both Uchihas and Senjus descendants of the Rikudo Sennin? So why can't the Senju know about this? And, you know, not just the Uchihas. And also begs the question, like, how far back was this tablet created? I mean, who wrote all this information from the Uchiha tablet and who gave it to the Uchihas? There's a lot of questions on that. But we at least get a reason why Madara started the Moon's Eye plan. So then once Madara learned about this, he actually fell into this utter despair because he thought that, you know, eating the fruit to obtain peace, it didn't work out in the end because he still lived in a world where there was war going on. Even though they had peace when Konoha was created, but he knew that it was not the true dream because it was just merely an illusion. According to him, once men decided to consume the fruit, they basically became cursed and then went on a downward spiral towards the path of endless and perpetual tragedy. And he said that the shinobi were basically living proof and the reminders of the ignorance back then. And it was because he wanted to create the Moon Eye plans to create a true dream. Not just his own dream, because the flashback kind of assumed that it made him a bit selfish, but an actual true dream for the future. Which is why he did all this. He thought that it was basically futile and thought the Moon's Eye plan might help to obtain a true dream of peace. Not like by eating a fruit, but then again, all this because of a fruit? So yeah, that's why Madara is doing all this. So that it could stop mankind from going down on this road of despair and tragedy. And then we see this giant tree, or giant plant you could say, really tall, and there was a bud growing on top of it. And according to Madara, that when the Shinju, the tree of God, blooms, the eye of the flower, which basically was the Rinnegan Sharingan fusion eye that the Juubi had, it will be reflected upon the moon, and once that happens, the Infinite Tsukiyomi will be complete, and of course the one that accomplishes that will have been Madara. If you think about it, in all honesty, up till now, Obito has been the one that has been, even though he went along with Madara's plan, yes, Madara did come up with the plan, but Obito was the one that conducted it. Obito was the one that orchestrated this plan. He's the one that summoned the final form of the Juubi. He's the one that's gonna actually activate the Infinite Tsukiyomi. Obito's doing most of the work. What has Madara been doing? Toying the Hokages, which granted it was a pretty awesome fight, but then learning in the end that none of them ever died. Not even one. Kind of disappointing. Like, okay, yeah, he did help Obito a bit. He even tried to control the Juubi himself. Yeah, that was fun. And then you had Hashirama showing up, which got him all excited and wanted to fight him. But instead, since Hashirama had to deal with the Juubi, Madara just basically just sat there doing nothing. Even though he tried to fight against Hashirama's wood clones, but it was nothing. And then he just stood there or sat there just watching all this happen. Not even trying to do anything, try to like conduct the Moon's Eye plan himself. You know, letting Obito control the Juubi, becoming his Jinchuriki. Most of the time, fighting Hashirama is just... I mean, I want Madara to be the final villain. Yes, that's true. But from what I've been seeing, Obito's been doing most of the work compared to Madara throughout this war. Naruto gets caught by the branches. Tobirama tries to save him by slicing the branches using the Suiton Slidanha, which is basically the water splitting wave. But even though the branches got cut, they were able to create even more branches, basically regenerate. And there was just too many of them to save Naruto. The branches will basically suck up their chakra once they get really close. So we get to see Naruto, and he's basically screwed because his QB Sage mode has disappeared, and he's gonna get his chakra absorbed, but he's saved by Sarutobi! Yay! Okay, don't get me wrong. Yay, Sarutobi for saving Naruto. Thought that was pretty cool. And he had Enma. And, well, except he was in his staff form. Hey, at least we get to see him use his staff. And Enma, the Monkey King. So, that's a plus. But, I'm sorry, it's just... It's been chapters since we last saw the guy. And last time we saw him, he's got the top half of his body blown up by the Omnioten Jutsu that can nullify all jutsu, even Edo Tensei. So, since he's alive and well again, I'm assuming that it didn't really kill him. It just took a hell of a lot longer time for his body to regenerate. But this one I don't get. I mean, if it took him that long for Sarutobi to regenerate, why is it taking so long for Minato's arm to regenerate? And also, you push one of the Hokages aside just so that he can make this grand entrance right now. I mean, it's good and all now that he's alive and he's gonna help fight again. I guess that power nap really did help, but this just kind of confused me because I was wondering what the hell took him so long, and did he just recently been regenerated? Well, at least he's back and he saves Naruto. And using the Hiraishin, Tobirama teleports them away. And it seems that the Juubi tree is finally, I'm sorry, the Shinju has finally like calmed down and stopped trying to suck up even more chakra. And we get to see Jugo and Sasuke, they're okay. They notice all the dead bodies on the battlefield, all the dead zombie-like corpses. Naruto gets incredibly pissed off. We see some of the shinobi that are alive, including Sakura and Sai, they're okay. Although Sakura, it looks like that she's exhausted even though she still has Kurama's chakra. So, I mean, did she get like some of her chakra absorbed by the branches? Because it must have taken like a lot of chakra for her to be exhausted on the ground. But at least she's alive, and I'm pretty sure she's gonna be okay. Also, Killer Bee's okay, so that's a good thing. And then we get to see Obito saying, just lay there quietly. Your suffering will soon come to an end, and that is where the chapter ends. So yeah, that is Naruto chapter 646. What did I think? Well, this was definitely an informative chapter. I really did like the backstory we got on the Rikudo Sennin and the origins of chakra, and of course the origins of the Juubi. This whole time it was the Shinju that people worshipped, and it bore fruit that gave the princess this godlike power. There was some like Japanese mythology, but it also reminded me of the book of Genesis, Adam and Eve. Princess Kaguya did this because she wanted peace. So she had good intentions, but according to Madara, it was all futile in the end because there was still war going on. The reason why he went along with the Moon's Eye plan was because he wanted a true peace for the future with this Infinite Tsukiyomi. Made sense, at least better than Obito's intentions, that's for sure. Although I don't get why isn't Madara the main villain. Sarutobi's appearance, I mean, yeah, it was cool and all, but it just begs the question, how long did it really have to take for him to regenerate? At least we get to learn of how the Moon's Eye plan will officially work by now. So, I don't know how long it's gonna take for the eye to be reflected upon the moon, but once it does, everybody will be cast into this illusion. When the Shinju actually absorbed basically every person's chakra, every shinobi's chakra that it captured, I thought, hey, sense of danger right there, but they were just fodder ninjas. I mean, seeing Naruto being sucked up, I'm like, oh my god, oh no, but then again, he's the main character and he's gotta be alive. Although, he's not looking so good because his chakra's been absorbed. So, you know, just seeing that, it was fine, but it was, in the end, we just saw fodder ninja. We didn't see any characters that we know, any of the minor characters that got, you know, caught by the branches. So I cannot but feel like meh over the sense of danger because they're just fodder ninjas. I mean, not characters that I think are important or characters that people like. Was I a bit disappointed by the final form? Yes, a little, but when I learned about the backstory of the Juubi, it made more sense to me. So it's completely understandable why it took a form of a giant tree. Granted, we don't know like what's gonna happen next. Maybe flower will officially bloom and the Infinite Tsukiyomi will work. They'll probably have to come up with another plan to defeat Obito. We'll just have to wait and see what happens next week. Whether the Infinite Tsukiyomi will finally be complete or not. So overall, I thought the chapter was, I can admit it was a good chapter. I wouldn't say that this chapter was awesome because it had some flaws, but it was still a good chapter nonetheless. So I heard the next week's chapter is going to be a special chapter. It's going to have 21 pages. So hopefully those 21 pages won't go to waste. So yeah, that is Naruto chapter 646. I'm going to Sprout on 27 and I will see you guys later. Bye.